Hey guys, welcome back to the homestead. Today I'm going to be in my raised bed garden area, and I'm going to be talking about the process in which I'm going to be using to fill these raised beds as cheap and economical as I possibly can, while at the same time practicing some very important methods that are going to help me conserve water and overall have better soil health for my raised bed gardens. For those of you who aren't familiar with Hugelkultur, I'm going to be doing a Hugelkultur style to fill my raised bed gardens. This isn't a true mound garden like real pure Hugelkultur, and I have used this principle in the past, especially in my Arizona days. But when you're filling as many raised beds as we have here, it get really expensive to fill that all with just regular topsoil and soil. So we're going to show you some methods to save some money and hopefully make your raised bed garden experience a little bit better. So let's get filling these beds. Alright, so I started out last year doing two main beds. So I've got this bed, which my other beds are leaning against, which is the big bed. Very cumbersome, kind of folding in on itself. I realized that was too large. Then I advanced into this size for my raised bed. This is a much more manageable size. However, it still was bowing. I had to support it. I had built two of those. That one I didn't use last year, but we filled it. But then I went ahead and I settled on this size raised bed. And the reason I settled on this size raised bed is because it's a little bit more narrow. It's a little easier to work with, a little bit cheaper to fill. And even though I am still seeing some of the bowing issues that I see with the big ones, it's significantly less. It's going to take less to fill them as well. So the two that you see in the back here and here, I've already kind of gotten the first three steps of this done, but I wanted to show you guys before I went into the next phase exactly what we're doing. So the raised bed, of course, is going to start out empty. Now, depending on how tall your raised beds are, you might want to put cardboard down at the bottom just to prevent excess weeds and anything from coming up. But if it's as tall as these, it's going to be really hard for weeds to penetrate and climb that much. So I am skipping that portion of it. It's up to you if you want to do it. I feel it's not necessary and may even prevent beneficial organisms like earthworms and stuff from getting in if we do. We're coming over to this next section. Now, in my long raised bed over here, I actually used more like whole logs. I didn't have whole logs, and I had a pile from when we cleared out our land of just regular kind of this size logs. So these some of them are pretty dang thick, like I can't even fit my hand completely around them, but pretty darn close. Some of them are pretty thin. The idea behind having logs in the bottom, if you follow the Hugelkultur principle, is the logs, as they start to deteriorate, and these are 1-year-old dead wood, they will actually start becoming like a sponge, and that sponge will hold water in during drought times, so water will not dissipate out. It will also start breaking down and creating food for your soil, which earthworms and other beneficial organisms, they'll be coming up and down, and they will actually provide some mixture of that soil in with your growing soil, so it'll end up giving you a nice boost in your garden. The next phase, I'm going to actually have to get the tractor out, and I'm going to be filling it with just some fill dirt. The fill dirt mixed in with the wood, it'll still create like an aeration where there'll be some pockets where air can get through, and the soil will then, the non-amended just dirt soil will eventually get mixed in with this wood and become a nice growing medium. So I'm going to get that done right now. We're going to put probably several scoops from a spot over here on the property. I'm going to grab the tractor and we'll fill it, and then I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like after that first step. Alright, so I got a layer of natural soil or dirt in there. This next step is just because I have it. We're cleaning out the barn. It's some pig straw, so it's got a little manure, probably has a little bit of garbage in it too, but it should be just fine for filling. Perfect. Thanks, buddy. He looks super happy about it. All right, this might be the last step for today before I move on to the next step of putting the compost in. So the compost and mulch, like you see in these beds. But as you guys can see, I've got this up pretty high. Now, I still have to put the layer of mulch on. However, it needs to settle. So with the rain and everything that's going on, like this one looked the same after I put the thick layer of mulch. Like I probably put like a foot of mulch and it sunk down that much. So this just goes to show that even though it looks full, there's a lot of empty space in here. So until I get the mulch on, maybe next time, next weekend, I'll have a better update for you on that. All right, it's been about a week since I filmed my last footage, and I just wanted to show you guys why I filled it up as high as I did last time. As you can see, it's rained a lot this week, and this straw and the dirt underneath that straw has really sunk down. I saw something similar over here with just compost and mulch. The idea behind this though is it's going to settle even more, so I'm still going to put the mulch up to the top before I put a layer of topsoil on. But that's where I'm at after a week, and that's the important part of letting it settle. And if you want to like speed that process up, you could use a lot of water and like hose it down so that it kind of forces the dirt to slip into those air pockets. Because the last thing you want to do is you don't want to create like a breeding ground for bad bacteria and everything. You don't want it to be, I think it's called septic. You don't want it to get to that point. So having a reduction in air pockets really helps that, and it helps the microbes and everything survive and break down and create nutrients for your vegetables. All right, sorry about the lighting. It's the only time of day I had to do this, but at least it's daytime out. Last step I'm going to put on here before I put on my topsoil and planting mixes is going to be filling in this gap again with some mulch. The mulch is going to be already broken down wood chips and plant matter that will maybe not the first year add nutrients to the soil. In fact, the first year it may hurt my gardening because it's sucking up nutrients in order to break down. However, in the long term, it's going to be a very good addition to the raised bed as far as adding organic matter that will absorb water and help me break down some of the nutrients that are in this mulch to feed the plants. So I'm going to do that off camera and show you what it looks like. Hey, might seem like I'm jumping around here a bit, but my footage of when I had the mulch in here didn't have audio, so I'm going to talk to you about the mulch. If I'm recapping anything, sorry, but this is basically just like trimming mulch that people use to put around their trees and to keep, and suppress weeds every year. So there's nothing really special about it. And the first year or two, it might actually suck nutrients from your plants because it's using that to break it down. But after a while, that's going to turn into really good soil. So that is why we put mulch down on that next step. All right, guys, I'm back. I finished filling the raised bed with the topsoil. It looks pretty good. I topped off some of my beds from last year. Hopefully this will be exactly what my garden needs to be successful for many, many, many years to come. I understand that it might not be the perfect soil, and I am going to add amendments to it for the specific things that I grow. But until then, I'm just looking forward to having it filled for now. That's one more step on this process of getting things ready this winter that I am done with. So as soon as I get these other few beds, I'm done with. So as soon as that's done, I'm going to be starting some seeds inside. And if you want to see all the progress that we're making on our in-ground and in-ground garden, then subscribe to the channel and see all the cool things that we're growing. We really appreciate all the support, especially lately. We've had a ton of growth in the channel. So we'll see you on our next video. Bye.